Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of XR Talk Show. And today's topic is going to be non-technical introduction to JavaScript. Okay, so let me put the title here, and I'm waiting for people to come in. Non-tech intro to JavaScript, JavaScript land, and other things. Okay. So while I'm waiting for people to come in, so what I mean by non-tech intro, I don't know. I'm just going to talk some random topic. So yesterday, I did a YouTube video, live stream on why Emac Lisp sucks, and that was a big one. And I end up ranting for like 90 minutes. And when you do video, you actually learn a lot of things about yourself. I've been doing videos for the past 30 minutes, half a year. Hi guys. And you learn things about yourself. So I learned that I don't communicate well. I mean, in more specifically, I don't. My English articulation is pretty bad. But I have been doing videos, for half a year now, and you improve. Like I'm, for example, I'm, well, okay. For example, I'm improving my English articulation. Articulation meaning the pronunciation, and and other things like not being sloppy. Sometimes when I in a rush to talk about things, I get sloppy, and when I get sloppy, your my pronunciation gets bad. You start to hear more typical Chinese accents. Just and also I learned, when you do video, also I learned that, for example, usually, I'm socially inept. That is, in social situations, I'm a nerd in social situations. I don't talk much, and when I do, it's not well expressed. Like whatever opinions, it's not well expressed. So anyway, so I learned that when I do start to do videos, and you watch yourself, and so there's articulation, and there is so I don't I don't express myself well, but I learned that. So you start to actually like when you want to like sometimes when I want to say some ideas, especially around people I don't know, or in a, let's say, meetings, in a company, in meetings, like I feel like you don't, you think maybe everyone knows, and you don't say it. But anyway, I learned that you just have to say it. Like a lot of people don't know. And okay, anyway, so yeah, okay, let me finish my thought. You see, that's an example. That's not a thing you want to do. You want to when you have some idea, just express it completely, and people will like it. Not necessarily everyone, but anyway. So today I'm going to talk about. I don't have a focus topic, but I'm thinking I'm going to focus on. Going to talk about JavaScript, the language. But anyway, but mainly I want you guys to type. Okay, type here. Type here. Let me know what you want to. Ask questions, comment, whatever I said. You have your opinions, comment, and keep the conversation going. That's what they say. I learned this from Tim Pool. Tim Pool. There's a guy on YouTube named Tim Pool or Timcast. If you can search his name like Tim Tim Pool. Sometimes he goes by Timcast. And at the end of every video, he will say, let me know what you think. Post your comments below. Keep the conversation going. So yeah. So type things. Keep the conversation going. Because I don't know what to talk about. My video is not scripted. So it's I like it to be like a conversation, like when you go out with friends, whatever topics come to mind, and you say it, you talk about your opinions. But anyway, so I think I was going to talk something about JavaScript. Something about JavaScript. If you guys don't comment, now, if you guys don't comment anything, usually that will end up, my video will just end up me, telling you to read my websites. So let's see, JavaScript in depth. But if you comment, say anything you want, when you comment, then I have a topic to talk about. For example, JavaScript. Right now I'm just talking to myself. Keep the comment coming. Just type. So, for example, JavaScript. So I wrote this tutorial. I spent like 2 years full time basically writing this tutorial, and this is the most in-depth tutorial of all of my tutorials. So you go to xali.info and you go to, let's say, programming blog, and you go to on top, there's a link to tutorials. Actually, you can find the link on the home page. All these languages, I have written tutorials of. The best ones is this one. This is the JavaScript in depth is actually the best of them all by far. Okay, but when you judge something, you have to give a criteria. So by what means it's the best? Okay, so this JavaScript in depth is actually the most in depth, and the most in depth that I've spent the most time concentrated, focused, concentrated. Like I want to write this tutorial. I want to dive into the JavaScript language in depth. I want to read the JavaScript spec, ECMAScript. So I read the ECMAScript specification, almost cover to cover, 2 versions of it. There's ECMAScript 2015 and 2016 and 2017. You read them in detail. It's very hard to read, by the way. Of all the language specs I've read, the JavaScript one is one of the, I would say, one of the worst. JavaScript language. So JavaScript language is pretty bad. I mean, even okay. So already I have several. I have several topics to talk about. Let's type it out here. JavaScript ES 2015. Okay, and so on. Keep the comments coming. Okay, I'm going to check the comments every 5 minutes. So JavaScript, ECMAScript 15, and so on. And JavaScript is really a bad language. It's a complete new land. So JavaScript 15, ECMAScript 2. Well, maybe I can talk about JavaScript history. Okay, but back to the topic. I was talking about, I'm giving you a introduction to my programming tutorials. So all of these, the JavaScript in depth is the one I spend the most time concentrated and trying to be also professional. You know, by that I mean, just not uh, my random rant about things. For example, my Emacs tutorial, there's lots of rant there. I mean, my Emacs website, there's besides the tutorial, the Emacs practical tutorial and practical Emacs Lisp tutorial. All these are rather focused, but besides that, I have lots of rant. But anyway, so I'm saying let's go back to so I'm saying, so this one is the most in-depth and professional. So if you want to learn JavaScript, this is a good one to read. Now the other good ones, the other one good ones are Python examples, Python by example. So this is also, lots of material, uh, but however it's rather it's not it's best for beginners. It's rather best for beginners. No, this is a no nonsense tutorial on Python. But if you already have, let's say, 2 years of programming in Python, this my tutorial is probably not gonna do you much. So Python is good and Go is also good. But this my Golang tutorial is also for beginners. By the way, Golang is now my favorite language. My favorite language among industrial languages. But if without qualification, my favorite language is Mathematica. This Mathematica by far. So anyway, so JavaScript is good. So Golang is my favorite language, and my Golang tutorial is great for beginners. Okay, so let me finish one thing at a time, because every time I talk about something, there's so many other things I want to talk about. So JavaScript is good. Golang, go read it, go learn it if you don't have any Golang experience. And Python is good. And SVG tutorial is also good. SVG is basically XML. It's quite simple. For example, if you just copy this in a file, save it in a file, and you show in browser, and you'll see a line. So it's just like HTML or XML. Wait, the syntax coloring is wrong here. So let me show you this. You see, all these are written in Emacs. So I open the page. So here's the SVG example in browser. Now you see the syntax coloring is wrong here. This SVG should be blue. So I press the key, and it's redone. 9 of them. So let's see if it's okay. It's not corrected anyway. So SVG tutorial. Let's go back. So SVG, SVG is very useful if you want to have any sort of graphics in on the web, JavaScript. So anyway, JavaScript, SVG, Golang. SVG is part of JavaScript, of course. You use JavaScript to script it. The practical Linux is also pretty good. If you are new to Linux, I give you basically my tutorial is pretty anyway, so I give you all the command lines you use, the most frequently used practical command lines for Linux. So let me check how you do RSS on your site. I'm kind of new to the channel, but I enjoy the most videos so far. Okay, no ninja, no zen, no joke. Yeah, let me talk about both of these. So RSS, okay, let me talk about that, but let me finish the topic here. So I have these tutorials. JavaScript is really good. Go read it. Let me turn off the auto click. Okay, JavaScript. This is the in depth. Go is good for beginner. That's my favorite language. When you love something, you do good with it. So Go is very good. Python is very good. This is also very good. SVG introduction. The rest and practical Linux is also good. And Emacs Lisp, my Emacs Lisp tutorial is also very good. In fact, you wouldn't find any. Okay, so if you consider all the resources on the web that are that teaches Emacs Lisp, you will find none that comes close. So basically, this is the best in the world, period. Always judge for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But from what I have seen, basically, Emacs Lisp tutorials online doesn't exist. There are like there are like a lot that just like one page, one page tutorial, like one page condensed intro, but but mine is like a small book. You have over 100 pages. Covers basically covers I would not everything in Emacs Lisp, but it's a comprehensive introduction to Emacs Lisp. And I would also say, I mean, this is my claim. I would say of all printed resources on Emacs Lisp, mine is best. Okay, well, partly because there's not much out there. There's maybe there's maybe two books on teaching Emacs Lisp. We are not counting the official Emacs Lisp manual. The Emacs Lisp manual is like 1,000 pages, and it's very dry and very hard to read. I mean, honestly, if you never studied Emacs Lisp before and you try to learn Emacs Lisp from the Emacs Lisp manual, that's not going to work. I mean, that's gonna be extremely inefficient. You're gonna spend hours and hours reading that, and you won't get out of it. Much things out of it. And by the way, there is also another Emacs Lisp tutorial that is written for beginners. For example, if you are in Emacs, you go to Control I, and you'll see a list of topic. This is info, Emacs info, and so you can see there's this one, Emacs Lisp intro. Now this is written by it's very annoying, like they don't show the author right here, so you have to go. Let's go down. This is written by, I forgot his name, but he died about 5 years ago. But anyway, so this is also online, introduction to Emacs programming, Emacs Lisp. Let's look at it. So there you have it. Click, magnify. So it's written by, yeah, it's very annoying. This GNU, Richard Stallman. They don't list the author name at the top. I should remember, about the author here. Yeah, Robert J. Chassell. So he died about maybe 5 years ago. So anyway, I'm talking about this book. So this book is also available in printed versions, but it's pretty bad. I mean, well, it's not bad, but it's for beginner programmers. That is, you never programmed before. You don't know what a variable means. You don't know what a function means. You don't know what a subroutine means. It's for people who never programmed before. So if that applies to you, then this is a good book. But if you have maybe 1 year experience programming in any language, this is not suitable, because when I started to learn Emacs Lisp back in 2006, I tried to read this book. It's great. Yeah, there's a book. Well, comprehensive. Well, I mean introduction, a great book. So I think I'll just skip parts I already know. Like, I know what the variable is. I know what's the function. But that doesn't work. Like, you have to skip 10 pages to learn a tiny little bit about Emacs Lisp. Like, so it just doesn't work. So I read like I read 5 pages and I quit. But on Reddit you'll see people post a link to this tutorial all the time. Few actually read it. A lot of people, I mean, that's the situation with online stuff, online postings. A lot of people will tell you that they will tell you to read Emacs list manual, but very few actually read it. And because why? Because it's no good. Because try it. Like, you go to Emacs list manual, you try to read it. You won't, it won't last for like a few hours. Okay, so I'm talking about my tutorials. So JavaScript, Go is good, SVG, Python. Practical Linux is good, and Emacs Lisp is very good. The rest, Git is also good. My Git tutorial, practical Git. It's practical. So if you haven't used Git before, it's good. But the others are they are not they are still good for beginners, like you never touched Java before and you want a basic intro. You can read that. Same thing for PHP, Clojure, Perl, Ruby. It would be nice if I complete them, like finish them, but it's not worth it, because each of these, like even one page, for example, this is Clojure, function chaining. Like, some of these articles are really great, in depth, but writing tutorial is not that easy, really, because it's different from writing blogs. Like, if you write a blog, whatever in your mind, you just write it. For example, if you are programming JavaScript, and if you are working on something at work or something, and you find some problems, and you read some website, you finally discovered a solution, and you blog it. So that's your blog. However, it's entirely different if you actually try to cover the subject of, let's say, create or delete properties in JavaScript. It's gonna be 10, you're gonna spend 10 more, because you're gonna spend like 10, you're gonna spend many days just for one single topic, because when you are blogging something, something comes in your mind, you're just trying to solve one specific problem, and also you assume your audience already know JavaScript, and it's just like a problem you want to solve. So you want to tell other people, other JavaScript programmers, this particular issue. They understand it. They can read your blog, and oh, this is how you do it, and done. That's it. But if you are writing a tutorial, there's no context. Like, people, they are not here to read your particular thought, about solving something. They are trying to learn, the concept of properties, the concept of properties and how you can delete them and stuff. It's like the whole thing. By the way, keep the comments coming. Okay, I'm gonna check it more often, because I don't want to, like, sometimes I just start to become a monologue, like maybe being repetitors and so on. So anyway, let me cover the question. So so this question I kind of wondered how you do RSS on your site. Okay, so it's pretty it's easy. So for example, let's see. So this is my programming blog. So you can see, let me turn the auto click back on. So this is my programming blog. This is the HTML page. So the RSS is just this is the RSS. You know, right now this is my local local file. You can see my on my local disk. But let's go to for example, programming blog. So if you click the RSS, that's a web feed. RSS is just a XML file. So on my local disk, the file is this one, blog.xml. Let me magnify. So this is the file, and I'm using the Atom format. You know, the RSS, there are two formats. There's the there's the RSS format, and another format is called Atom. Let me just show you. Okay, I have a couple of articles you can read. Oh yeah, Atom web feed tutorial. So this article discusses a bug in the Atom RSS readers. So this article, command to update RSS Atom web feed. So this is actually how I update my RSS, the Atom file. Basically, I have written a command in Emacs. So it's an Emacs command, and I just call it, and it will update it. I'm going to show you. And on this page is Atom web feed tutorial. It shows you the format, the format of Atom web feed. So RSS, if you don't know, it stands for Web Syndicate something. But anyway, basically people can click it and subscribe. So whenever I have a new article, it will notify you. I'm not sure what's the RSS readers today. What do you guys use? Type it. Comment, keep the comment going. So anyway, so let me show you. So for example, so this is my blog. I create a new entry section. This is just my own format. I created this, so new entry. Okay, let's say that's it. So I'm done. So if I show in browser, you can see a new entry. Magnify, new entry. Now it's not in RSS yet, so I want to put it in RSS. So let's okay, first of all, let me turn on start command log. Now this is the command log mod I've talked about a few times before in my video. So you can see all the Emacs command I'm gonna call. So okay, back to my blog. So this is the new entry. Now I want to add this entry to my RSS file. So if I do it manually, it's gonna be like this. So I copy this line, I open the XML file, which is this one. I open it, and I have to create like copy that. So I have to create a entry here. For example, create an entry. So this is the new entry. Delete, and I have to okay, switch back. So new entry, put it here. So the title is going to be that, and I have to update this part. I have to update the date, and so it's tedious. It's is quite tedious. So so this is the part I want to add, and also I need to update the updated date here. So it's very tedious. So I have written a command. So here's how I do it. Look at the left panel. So I just press 3 keys and that's it. That's done. So the cursor is on this on here. That's the title. Whatever title I want to say. So let's just say new entry. Okay. And let's just close it. I mean, that's done basically. That's done. Close it. Then I go to eShell. Then just async and just upload to my server. And if you go to, so if I go back to my website, Saudi.com, and refresh, you'll see a new entry here. And if I click on the subscribe feed, you will see here. You see? So that's how I do that. Okay, but however, I don't want that, so let's remove it. Okay, so no ninja, no zen, no joke. Yeah, on lots of tutorials, let's go to for example, a job, on lots of tutorials like Ruby, they have like a ninja thing, like the JavaScript ninja. There's such a book, JavaScript ninja, or Ruby Zen, or something dojo. I don't like those styles. And also, yeah, so how long I've been talking? 32 minutes. So, yeah, let me talk about that. So Emac tutorial writing styles. So for example, if you go to Ruby, there's lots of, mini tutorials. Okay, let me start to show some topics. So Eloquent JavaScript, that's one of the book. By the way, I also want to mention, I know all the JavaScript book out there. So, well, yeah, because I write JavaScript tutorial, in depth. So I've seen and read many. Well, basically, I know basically all JavaScript that you can find online, and also I have surveyed many of the popular books. But let's not talk about books for the moment. It's about online, So I looked at them all. So okay, so this is this would be biased for me to say, but I would say my JavaScript in depth is better than them all, possibly except one or two. Okay. Yeah, possibly except one or so. So if you compare Mozilla, the Firefox, Mozilla, let's say, let's look for JavaScript properties. Okay, JavaScript properties. Yeah, W3 School is the worst. I mean, they cater to beginners. Okay, so this is the Mozilla Firefox JavaScript reference. They also have a tutorial. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I've seen, okay, here's the point. My tutorial, they have a tutorial here, JavaScript reference, Mozilla's JavaScript tutorial. It's not good. Okay, Mozilla in particular, the Mozilla's JavaScript tutorial is no good. And okay, so anyway, let's get back to, so this one, for example, I mean, this guy, is very capable guy, but however, in many books, like their writing style. I mean, there are many writing styles for writing a tutorial. For example, this one is like story oriented. Story like he tell there's lots of words, very verbose, and he tells a story like introduction. First of all, introduction. So let's see. He does some funny quotes or some wisdom inducing quotes, and he shows a screwdriver. Too many words. But I mean, this is just his style. Okay, I mean that's perfect. Some people like that style. That's fine for you. But I don't like this style. He's like too many words. And also, by the way, this is for beginners. This book is good. It's a good book, well written, and this guy is an expert in JavaScript. He has written JavaScript parsers in JavaScript. And by the way, he's also a Emacs Lisp coder. He has written the Turn JavaScript IDE that's written by him. So you know so this is a good book for beginners. But anyway, the writing style is one of those I really don't like. And if you go to Ruby, then you start to see this Ken and Kong and Ninja and stuff. um, I haven't really coded in Ruby. I just learned it for like 3 months. So so you can see some of that. You see, the Ruby crowns. Like what the fuck? Ruby crowns. And and this guy is very famous. I learned Why's Poignant Guide to Ruby. It's actually a comics. But anyway, so he was very apparently, I don't know much about Ruby's community because I haven't actually coded Ruby much, but there is this guy whose online name is just Why. Okay, that's it. Like for a time being, for quite a while, it's a mystery. Nobody know who he is. But however, he is very enthusiastic about Ruby. So he has written a lot of tutorials and helpful things, and he has written this. Okay, open the book. Comics, teaching Ruby, via comics. So he is immensely popular in the Ruby community. However, he became more popular when one day he disappeared from the internet. Like you guys, are you guys Ruby coders? Do we have Ruby coders? If you are Ruby coders, you probably know the story. So anyway, one day he just disappeared from the internet. And like there are quite a few cases where famous people, famous programmers, they just disappeared from internet. Like they deleted their Reddit, they deleted their GitHub, they deleted every presence on the internet. And so this guy did that, for whatever reasons. So anyway, so I'm talking about the back to the tutorial writing styles. So you see these, Kong, like it's stupid. I don't like them. Okay, so you have and Ruby Essentials, learn to program, and learn Ruby the hard way. Okay, this guy is very interesting. This guy learn Ruby the hard way, and he has also written Learn Python the hard way, and several others. Yeah, and also he began to write Learn JavaScript the hard way. I hate it because it's my competitor. Oh, it's not done yet. But anyway, this guy is interesting. Remember this site? I'm not going to read that loud, but but you might have seen this. This is done by him. This guy is quite interesting. He swear a lot. What's his name? Anyone remember his name? But anyway, he and also he's a very capable programmer. He wrote, yeah, he's one of the big contributor to Ruby and to Python as well. He wrote a web server that's included in, I forgot which, Python or Ruby or JavaScript. I forgot which, but yeah, but anyway, so I was talking about Java's tutorial writing styles. Yeah. So anyway, so okay, let me get back to there's one thing I want to talk about. Okay. Besides, so writing styles of tutorials. Hold on, let me show you another web page. So if you go top, you go to my programming blog, and on the side you'll see Doc for Dummies. So this is an index to a collection I've written about documentation. I have an obsession about documentation, so I've read programming documentation more than anyone. Essentially, yeah, I can safely say more than anyone who works at Google, let's say. Well, partly because my age, I'm 50 years old, but yeah, but so I have an obsession. I mean, it began since I was a teen, since I began to learn English. I would read the book from, my habit was that any manual, like not just a tutorial about programming, but any manual, any comics book or any manual, I will read cover to cover, literally, like from cover, not just first page, cover, preface, table of content, and so on to epilogue, and and end of a cover and whatever blurb, cover to cover, page by page and word by word, every word. I have to like read every word, and every word I don't understand, I have to look up. So I have looked up, when I was learning English back then, 30, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Every word if I don't know that word, I write it down and I look up dictionary. So I've looked up dictionary more than anyone, more than most people. Um, so I mean, that's a habit. In fact, that's not a good habit. That's not how you want to read a book. Actually, yeah, if you really want to read a book, you want to skip and scan, get the point, quickly scan, But anyway, I was talking how I became, one of my habit back then. I don't do that these days. But anyway, back then, when I was a teen, first I learned English, so I have and well, it's not just English. I mean, even for Chinese, the way I grew up, from my dad's influence. But anyway, so I have the habit, the mindset of when you read a book, especially manuals, like everything, before you do anything, you have to read the manual. Like then you read the manual, and it has to be like cover to cover, and actually carefully read every word. You know, um, so I spot all errors, grammatical errors, comma, missing comma. So you have to do that. That's that's how I was. That was my habit. So anyway, so I've read a ton of programming documentations, and I have an obsession. Okay, that's one thing. That was my habit about reading. And also part of my history of learning English. That's how I learned English. By the way, which is extremely inefficient. Don't do that. Okay, if you are going to learn a new language, let's say I don't know, Italian, Spanish, don't open any book, like newspaper, like go, read the pick up a Spanish newspaper and start to read every word and start to look up dictionary. That's extremely inefficient, you know. But back then my mindset, it's still somewhat with me, is that is captured by the word brute force. I like the word brute force. I don't care how other, if other people do something, that they run 10 miles, I'm going to run 100 miles. That was my mentality. So I just brute force, like trying to learn a new language this way. Because I was thinking, to learn a new language, basically you just know all the vocabularies, and that's it. You just, you know maybe there's more efficient way, but I don't care. I didn't care. That was in the past. So all I want to do is just know every word, so I know all the words, then I can understand language, understand the language. But that way is extremely inefficient. You don't want to do that. For the same amount of time, you can study hard, and you will do much better. And also, for my, studying English by vocabulary, that I learned quite a few things. For example, vocabularies, there are actually quite several categories. For example, if you don't know English, for example, and you pick up Shakespeare's book, Shakespeare, you read the entirety of Shakespeare, you look up every word, you understand every one of them, for example, your English will, you won't be able to read anything. You won't be able to read newspapers. Like when you open a newspaper, like half of the word, more than half, you don't understand. That's a situation. So, because the words, they are actually, very much categorized. There's novelists, words, they are particular. Poetry words, there's particular set. Everyday conversation words, there's particular set. Speech words, you know journalism, so-called journalism, like in newspapers or Time magazine, that they have a particular set of vocabulary. So it's very, you cannot think, I'm just going to, read, know all the words starting, let's say, Shakespeare. If you pick the wrong book, then you're gonna, you waste, like, for, you waste your 2 years, studying a language. So that was it. So okay, so back to the documentation topic. So anyway, that was my learning English experience. But still, to this day, I still have an obsession about reading documentations. I read a lot, Unix, um, and also I have a obsession about writing, like writing style, all, like all aspects of writing. How, for example, some of the popular topics are how to be a good writer, or how to be a good technical writer. Writing styles. What kind of writing styles are there? I mean, not necessarily just technical writing. I mean, including journalism, anything. What styles are there? If you are writing a book or whatever, and linguistic issues. I mean, if you know linguistics, how does that affect? How they affect or relate to writing style, and also literature. How, so I'm kind of like, I have interest in these kind of things. But anyway, back to the programming documentations. So I have this page. I collected lots of my essays, opinions about documentation. I've, many aspects about it, and most programming documentations, it's really bad. I mean, it's like they have no idea what they, they, like, the writings, the writing quality is extremely poor, for many reasons. I mean, for example, first of all, programmers, they don't, first of all, documentation is not really part of the program. Like when if you work for Google or whatever software, you write software, the documentation or inline documentation, they doesn't affect the software at all. So it's like, you don't pay high attention. You don't get, it doesn't get much attention. Yes, Zetso, thank you, break the loop. Zetso, uh, Z Show is the guy who created this page. Yeah, he is a very interesting guy, and he swear all the time. And also, you can see, he has been given talks on YouTube. You can see, and he's also, yeah, he's very interesting, and also very controversial. and some of his ideas I liked very much. For example, he has at one time, I don't remember if it's a lecture, a talk, in real time, or was it one of his article? I forgot. I think it's a talk where he talked about programming idioms, uh, which I'm with him. I don't like many of these. Python. The code. They are like a code, and he attacks them very much too. For example, this page, become a programmer, and anyway. So back to the documentation. I was okay. Let me get out of my nested topics I was talking about. So documentation, programming documentation. I was saying, yeah. So programmers, for many reasons, multiple reasons, the documentation of programming languages is extremely bad. Okay, for several reasons. I can talk about reasons, but for one of the reasons is that documentation is not really part of the software, so it gets neglected. And secondly, programmers in general, they are not writers. I mean, they have less interest in writing. Most programmer, maybe you are very enthusiastic about algorithms. Oh, algorithms, oh, Python idioms, how you do that. Oh, object-oriented programming. Oh, functional programming, how you do it, that. But when it comes to documentation, you don't have that interest. You don't see that. Usually they don't do well. And anyways, there are many reasons, several reasons. I can talk about that for a whole hour. So maybe next another day, next live stream. Um, but so is there something I want to say? Actually, I forgot. What's the topic? So we will actually okay. So I was going to originally talk about JavaScript in depth, but that's we even didn't begin. So anyway, so let me answer the questions. Keep the questions coming, guys. So let me know how am I doing, or what topics you want to. I mean, like maybe some people actually come here to really hear about me talk about JavaScript, but instead of I rambled on and on. There's so many things interesting about JavaScript in depth. Yeah, because also if you don't post comments, and usually I just end up just promoting my own website. So okay, back to I forgot what's the reference to for sandwich. Okay, nice. I will look into that this stream. Okay, I forgot that what that is. Hello, yo. So hi guys. Thank you. What do I think? What do you think about replacing Emac list with JavaScript? Is that a troll? Because yesterday, for those of you who don't know, yesterday I did a big, huge rant about how Emac list sucks in yesterday's live stream. So I didn't, I know it's going to be a rant. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so yesterday I knew I'm going to rant about it, but I didn't expect I actually, just keep going and on about that. Actually, that's I don't know if if my people who watching that video didn't like it, or if they like it. I'm not sure what's the audience response. But however, like I'm not sure. Like at one hand, I swear a lot, and I curse at many of the Emacs community, and as well as Python community and programmers in general. So I'm kind of like, you can say I'm attacking them, attacking the programmer communities. And this opinion is not very popular in general. So for if any average programmer, maybe from Google or whatever, they watch it, they probably not gonna like it, so they're gonna vote it down. But on the other hand, for people who maybe know me a little bit, and for non-mainstream programmers, I think that video is actually quite interesting for them, because I honestly, spewed out all the like 10 years my frustration with these elite programmers, and I felt good, although I wasn't, I didn't intend to do it that way, but I just flowed out, and so I think a lot of people might like it. So I wasn't sure overall was it good or bad, and also I like to know, because I don't want to make videos that just like about myself. Hoping to do something people like. Uh, so anyway, so let me answer the other questions. Uh, do you have any advice about key for switch to command mod in Softlight Keys? Why not escape keys? Yeah, I actually have written a tutorial. I have written an article about the reasons. So let's go to keyboard blog. Okay, well, let's go to Xali keyboard. So that article will address this question exactly. Excuse me. So yeah, the question is about, So the question is about, in Softlight Keys, why do I choose in Vim or VI? You have escape key that switches to command mod. But however, in Softlight Keys, which is a package for Emacs, a key binding system, it does not use the escape key to switch mods. So why is that? Okay, so XART keyboard blog, you'll find the answer at design layout key binding. So go to key binding here. Design a Vim mod activation key. So you can read this if you offline, but basically the reason is okay. The short one reason is that the escape key on a normal PC keyboard is not it's not a good key to press, because it's on the corner and you have to move your hand all the way. That's on a typical laptop keyboard or typical PC keyboard. So I don't want people to do that. So because you can remap the keys. Most people remap the escape to the caps lock key, which is very good position. But do realize that a lot of people, they don't bother. Actually that's the fact, because for you or for me, we are obsessed about this. To us, it's obvious. It seems we think that, could it possibly possible that nobody knows this? We think everyone knows, but actually, out there, a lot of Vim users actually, they never bothered, put the escape key on the cap lock. They just never bothered. Most, I would say, probably the majority of Vim users out there. It's interesting because of the Vim community online, or Emacs or Python or whatever, online people, they are actually like a very small group of the actual users. Like let's say Emacs. I write Emacs tutorial, right? So I read Emacs blog. I know the Emacs people. I go to Emacs meetup. So so does you guys, most of you, I suppose. So to us it seems like this is the everyone knows about this. This is the Emacs community, but actually that's the online Emacs community is actually a very small fraction, like 1% or less than 1%. That's I think that's reality. Same thing applies to the Python community or the Java community. Vast majority of people, programmers, for example, they don't go online and read blogs and talk about things. They go home and they go to their wife or whatever. They have a life. They have a life. Uh, hey Haskell, so I gotta learn Haskell. So the best key to change means state. Yeah, JK. So JK key is good for change command mod as well. But the problem with that is, the JK. The problem with that is a hack. So when what I mean by hack? Well, basically it means it doesn't always work well. That's what I mean. So like sometimes you press it, it doesn't work. Things like that happens a lot. So it's annoying. Annoying. So usually I avoid any kind of that. But however, if what I mean by hack, for example, the keyboard, let's say versus piano. On a keyboard, we have what's called key code, right? You press control and something, control option, control alt and something. We call it a chord. But actually, the key press needs to be in specific order. For example, if you want to copy, control C, right? You have to hold down, press control first, hold it down, press C, you have to release C, then release control. It must be in that order, specific. I mean, very specifically. Even we call it chord, but it's actually not chord, because if you press C first, then that doesn't work. So, but compared to a piano, that's actual. I don't know if you can. I don't know if this is a good analogy, but anyway, the piano is actually designed. I mean, the physical keys are actually designed for you to press multiple keys at once and easily. Like you don't have to go into hand contortions to press more than 5 keys on a piano. It's designed that way. But the keyboard, the computer keyboard is not. So there's a huge the difference is huge. And there are a lot of people, they started a project where they use a computer keyboard to try to make it to be a steno. So they are thinking, they want to use computer keyboard as a steno machine. It doesn't really work well. In fact, I think it induces repetitive strain injury. Let me show you. For example, it's miscellaneous. For example, here is a steno machine. So this machine is for typing. It's for typing very fast at the speed of speech level. It's used by in court, for example, stenographer. They call the people who use this machine to type is called stenographer. They in court they type. People speak and they type, record it down, and the reason it's fast mostly due to two things. One is this particular physical keyboard. It allows you to, this is actually a chord keyboard. It allows you to press multiple keys at the same time. That's one thing. The other reason is that the system it uses to type is actually a coded system. So it's an input system. In other words, it's not typing one letter by letter. In fact, it's actually phonetic based. So it's based on sound. So for example, sound is one word. Sound. They just type two keys. Like sound is one thing. D is the other thing. Sound. Two instead of SOUND. So that's why it's extremely fast. But now there are people who let me show you. Yeah, her. she started a project that. But anyway, there are people who there's a project called Plover. Yeah, you can look up Plover. They try to use the steno system on a standard normal PC keyboard. You know, that's very bad. I'm judge for yourself. Always judge it for yourself. But in my opinion, it's no good. The idea is that their idea is that on a PC keyboard, the steno system is great, because it's abbreviations, phonetic based, so it allows you to type very fast. However, the steno machine, because it's a rare market, very few people use it, so it's very expensive. It's like $1,000, uh, and very bad, because there's no competition. It just like some small company makes it and sells it $1,000 or something. So she has the idea. She was a stenographer. Yeah, this is a stenograph. The machine. It's like $1,000 or 2,000 or something. But she began the idea that $2,000 it's no good. So she wanted to she started the idea that she wants to create her own steno machine or something like that. But eventually it becomes a project where you use a normal keyboard. There's this keyboard. Let me show you. PC do it yourself there. This keyboard is very popular among the hacker types. So you use this keyboard to input the steno system, and it's no good. In my opinion, it's very bad. It's going to increase your risk for repetitive strain injury. um, yeah. So anyway, so I rambled quite a lot. I think already. Okay, 1 hour and 10 minutes, 70 minutes. I think that's it. So anyway, I was going to talk about JavaScript, but turns out we didn't cover that at all. JavaScript. Maybe, yeah, this. Okay, maybe I'll talk about that. Okay, JavaScript, ECMA 2015, and so on, and it's a completely new language. JavaScript history and JavaScript is a bad line. Actually, maybe we'll talk about that some other time. So, any other questions? Last chance. Questions. Last chance. 10 seconds. So if I think yeah. So let's see what else. Steno machine. Become a programmer. JavaScript, eloquent JavaScript. This guy, why Ruby, why CB? Who would read a programming tutorial by comics? Well, actually, Japanese do that. In Japan, everything is. Let me show you. In Japan, everything is done by comics. Actually, yeah, if you visit Japan, you see it everywhere. I mean, the comics is their form of their what. It's almost like they're one of their primary form of communication. Besides text. Japanese. So you see it in metros, in public signs. You always see drawings. In Japan. So, for example, let me show you this funny. Where is it? I can't find it now. Yeah, if you go to Japan, you'll see lots of comics. Everything is done by comics. Yeah, I cannot find it right now. So thank you guys for coming. I'll see you next time. And by the way, so when the live stream ends, then after about 30 minutes, it'll show up on on YouTube video, and so if you miss any comment, questions, you can comment on my videos, and I like to get comments, partly because the YouTube, everything you see on the web today, it's commercialization. They push and push because they want to make money. I mean, Google, I'm talking about Google, Twitter, they push you to use their platform. And on YouTube, for example, every video you'll see everyone, start to do a video, and they start with some logo, the TikTok, what the fucking shit, just like TV, and at the end they'll say, please thumb up and please leave a comment. There's many styles of doing that. Some for example, girls, thank you for comment, and please thumb up if you like it. Many styles of doing that. It's nothing wrong with that, but when it becomes mechanical, like everyone does that. And why does everyone do that? Because actually YouTube is trying to tell you too. Because for example, if you do a video stream, if you do it yourself, maybe you had it done before, YouTube will tell you, how to do it, how to get more people. They show you statistics, who is watching, which of your video has more views, at what time, so they do all they can to increase, people using YouTube, so they make more money. So that in turn, any video creator such as myself also want to push that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, of course, when I do something, or anyone else, you want to people watch it, but it becomes this corporate mechanical thing. So I'm not sure what to do about that. If you don't actually try to market or push it, you tends to be buried. So it's like there's the choice forced onto me. If I don't tell people to comment, nobody, there will be less people commenting, because obviously, um, then your video get less watched. Then that's no good. Like, so anyway, so I don't know what to do about that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.